but I'm here to tell you that we'll do a lot for a point.
Yes,
In
we
fact,
will.
we will, right? We know that we'll do a lot to get a like, because there's a deeper meaning to that. It's not about the superficial like on Facebook. It's about the need for love, connection, and belonging.
Mm-hmm.
And Ellen from Orange Theory has created that with her brand because of how she has innovatively married exercise and social media.
Yeah.
It's a winner.
Yeah, that is that. Now I have to go check them out. Just because I thought they were like another, like, not Peloton, Soul Cycle type of like group exercise thing, but yeah, like if you.
But it is. It's a group. It's a group exercise program. I mean, from what the description I hear, it's a combination of like CrossFit and group fitness. Yeah. Like you do a circuit. It's not the exercise itself. There is nothing special that I'm hearing. I haven't experienced it, but there's nothing particularly outstanding about the exercise. What I feel the innovation is that you get one of these proprietary, some kind of fitness measuring thing. I mean, maybe it's just a branded Fitbit. I don't know, but you get something that's measuring your vitals, and that information is being shared on these screens. And then I don't know if they even have, like, nationally, you got the most splat points out of anyone in the country, or regionally. I mean, if the technology exists to do that, why wouldn't they do it?
Yeah, I mean, it would make sense that they would.
Right, because if I am an exercise fanatic, which I was an exercise fanatic for 15 years of my life, I guarantee you I would be working for those flat points.
That's right. You'd be the national champion point.
I would be the flat point pioneer champion. That's right. That'd be definitely up there. And I would not care about the free T-shirt that I would get, but man, there's just something about that recognition, right? There's there's the power. It's like, maybe it's that not enoughness again. I don't know, but for people who are into it, that's a very valuable commodity. And so I'm excited about Orange Theory. I think it's great. And then the other person, and this is all because the same thing, like, authenticity is everything. Authenticity, integrity, speaking the truth in a raw and vulnerable way, like, man, that is like so where I'm at right now. So my other person who is about opposite of Brene Brown is Gary Vaynerchuk.
Go on, please.
Well, okay, so I don't know, same thing. I mean, I don't know everything about Gary, but the little bits of things that I see him doing on videos is he tells it like it is. Now,
he definitely does.
And the things that he says are true. So I know he interrupts people a lot, and I mean, I see some of the, like, I see him getting all juiced up. It's just really, actually, I'll tell you what, you want to see, like, the funniest thing ever? Watch this interview between Russell Brand and Tony Robbins. That's it's hilarious. I just don't even have words. It's just really funny to see it because they're opposite energies of each other. Russell Brand is like, I think he might actually be from another planet, but
I love watching him too, because he says so, like, just sneaks in things that are so profound, and you don't expect it coming from this. He hides it behind this, like, jokey, sexual, comedic persona, and you're like, he is really, really intelligent and says really amazing things.
Bingo. Yes. Yeah. And so and he's authentic and vulnerable and raw. And so that's the same thing I see in Gary Vee. Yeah. Where when Gary Vee is talking about business, and I'll hear him, like, I heard him, I guess it was on, he videotapes everything he does. So whatever.
Yes, exactly.
I wish I had that. I wish I had, D-Rock, K-Rock, or whatever.
Yeah, you just need to hire like 7 people to constantly videotape you and post it everywhere.
Yuri, I need to put these angels to work.
Yes, you do.
They're going to be in my life.
That's right. You could strap a camera to an angel. I like where this is going.
I mean, they're around. They need something to do. So, Yeah, so Gary Vee, he's like talking to this girl on the phone, and she's a millennial, and she's just like, oh, I want to be a millionaire by the time I'm like 25 or something ridiculous, whatever she just said. And Gary like calls her on it. He's like, why? Why do you want that? You don't even know what that means. And he's right. He's like, you don't even comprehend $1 million. Do you understand the amount of work it takes to get there? And he's so real about it takes work. It takes, hours and hours and hours of working and cultivating and thinking and strategizing and following through. Whereas we have a lot of people out there that are like, oh, work less, be nomadic. You can create this dream life. It's all bullshit. I'm sorry, but I mean, yeah, there are people who can create that, but there's 8 billion people on this planet. We can't all be nomads.
Right. Exactly. We all can't manifest it and it shall come.
But so there's just a truth to what he says, and he gets to the point. And I think that his advice is solid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, no, definitely. I mean, his overabundance-ness, if that's even a word, he's just everywhere on social media all the time, so I find that a little bit overwhelming. But, especially, I remember back when I lived in New York, before he was doing the entrepreneurship thing, he had this small little video podcast when they first started coming out about wine. And I used to sit on the subway and watch his wine videos because he would, in a sense, speak truth to power. He would break down the wines in a very logical, easy to digest kind of sense where it didn't feel like it was so, ethereal or even difficult to understand. I felt like I started to get wines and to understand the different complexities in the flavor because he broke it down in a very simple way. And he does that. He's like now the Simon Cowell, but of the entrepreneurship world, where just sometimes people just need to hear that what they're doing is terrible and they should just move on. So it's great. But yeah.
He definitely also brings people out of these pie in the sky belief systems that they've created. I feel like he gives, especially young people, very good advice. And I think that he's willing to say the things that need to be said. Mm-hmm. And I'm very much that way. So, I appreciate that about him. And I think that that's fascinating that you have been, aware of him all those years. I was giving a speech the other day at the very sophisticated 8th grade career day.
Excellent.
And so we were at the end of they were asking their questions and doing whatever. And we were at the end, and I don't know what made me do it, but I just said hey guys, by show of hands, I want to know what social media you guys are using. Because I was curious. They're 8th graders. I don't get to talk to 8th graders. So I went through Facebook, no hands. Instagram, couple of hands. Snapchat, all the hands. What up? Well, I feel like Gary Vee called that one, that Snapchat was going to be big. And I was looking at Snapchat going, I still don't get it.
Yeah.
But my high school does.
Yeah, I still don't get Snapchat.
and then here's the funny thing.
Yeah.
So then I said, I said something about Gary Vee. I said, how many of you guys know Gary Vee? Not one kid. Yeah, I thought he was so ubiquitous and everywhere, but obviously these 8th graders had never even heard of him.
Yeah. Well, also part of that, and again, this is the part of Snapchat. So I have Snapchat, but the part of it I don't quite figure out is you can't really search for people. So it's not like Instagram where you're hashtag or all that kind of stuff where you're searchable. You have to either get invited or know someone. It's a more close-knit community that way, but it's also part of, because I was trying to do some of his techniques to build up my Snapchat thing, and you have to invite people from other sites to find you on Snapchat. So I just I got lazy and gave up on that one.
Well, I have a social media platform that I would like to invent. But I'll have to tell you about it offline because I don't want to share my ideas out with the world quite yet.
That's true. Okay. All right. Well, we'll continue that one on the side. All right. So while I have you still kind of fired up, I do want to ask you about, because you wrote an article about this, leveling up in 2019. So for the listeners out there, what were your ways to level up in 2019?
Well, one of the easiest ones, and what the article was based on, is one of my favorite neuroscientists. His name is Moran Cerf. Mm-hmm. Now, he has done a ton of research that actually shows us that our brains sync up with whomever we are in proximity to. So this was actually really mind-blowing to me, because you know those old cliches or those old sayings like that your grandma says about birds of a feather flock together. Mm-hmm. And I think it's Tony Robbins who says, you are like the sum total of the 5 people that you're closest to.
Yep.
So Moran Cerf is actually proving this to be true, because what they've done is they take groups of people, and if people are all in a room together, their brains wire together. And if you're in a room and you're listening to a public speaker, your brains actually sync up with that speaker. But the same kind of thing that can happen with reading books, watching movies, watching a talk, being in proximity to people. So I think that one way to level up your life in 2019 and really get serious about this is look at who is in your close network. Mm-hmm. And kind of, let me bring this back to something I said earlier in the conversation, mm-hmm. when I said I need my team to be level 10 executors.
Yeah.
Now, you don't need the people in your life to be level 10 executors, but you need them to be something. And the answer to that question about what you need them to be is very important, because if you need people who are optimistic or smart, or you need people that are giving great advice, just understand that the level of where their brain power is at will either bring you up to their level or drag you down to their level. I think this is why masterminds are so powerful.
Mm-hmm. I think you're right, because you're right. You get in a room with people who are also ambitious and think a little bit differently about your problem, and then suddenly you see yourself changing and adapting and thinking differently, or even big events. That's fascinating.
Yeah, I recently joined. For the first time in my entire life, I joined a mastermind group, and I wasn't really sure what to expect, but very quickly into this process of meeting, it's a mastermind that's only women. Mm-hmm. And I love it because it's called the Unicorn Club, and that's so like fairy pixie dusty sounding, which is so not me, which is why I love it so much, because it's so serious all the time, Anyway, so now I'm a unicorn. That's great. Anyway, I'm in this room of these very powerful women. I mean, New York Times bestselling authors, people with television shows, Marianne Williamson walked in the door.
Wow.
I just can't even explain to you how powerful of a moment this was for me. And the moment was when I knew I am not the smartest person in this room. Mm-hmm. And that makes this the most exciting place that I could possibly ever be at.
That's fantastic. Well, awesome. I think we should probably end it there, or we'll keep chatting for a very long time. So,
yeah, that sounds good.
Yeah. So again, thank you, Mary, for taking the time to chat with me. This was absolutely fantastic and very profound. So thank you. If the listeners, again, would like to read more of your writing and see what you're up to, where is the best places they can go to do that?
Well, my website is maryshores, SHORES.com, and you can find me. Please do connect with me on LinkedIn or Instagram, Facebook, whatever is your favorite. And if you like what we talked about today, please jump on Amazon, check out the book Conscious Communications, your step-by-step guide to harnessing the power of your words to change your mind, your choices, in your life, and read the description and some reviews. I think you'll know right away whether the book is for you or not.
Fantastic. And I will, again, make sure to put all of those links in the show notes so people can click right through.
Thank you.
Awesome. Well, again, thank you so much. Have a good evening. Thank you for listening to another episode of the Advance Your Art podcast. If you like this episode, please go into iTunes and give us a 5-star rating. And while you're there, hit the subscribe button so that every single time I release a new episode, it will go directly to you without even thinking about it. If you're interested in hearing older episodes, please go to advanceyourart.com, where you can find the catalog of everything I've done so far, as well as contact information and projects I'm working on. Thank you again, and have a great day.